Hello, friends from Five Reasons. Welcome back to our pregame show today with the Miami Heat against the Washington Wizards playing tonight, the eighth game of the season for the Miami Heat. I'm joined today with Jonathan and Brady. It's just the three of us. The rest of the team was partying too hard last night. They drank too many of this, and they are not available for the pregame. They will be available for the postgame show or the podcast, the Five on the Floor that the guys record right after every game for the Miami Heat. So, Jonathan, Brady, we're coming off a really tough loss against the Boston Celtics. Last minute, the player that you least expected to be shooting that the last basket to give the Boston Celtics the win. But we saw a little bit of a better version of the Miami Heat, right? So, how do you guys feel with the way the Heat played that game that had the playoff uh, feeling to it? And how do you guys feel about tonight's matchup against the Washington Wizards? Well, let's start with Jonathan.
Well, I feel pretty good about it. I feel like that was the first game that we saw Jimmy be a little bit more aggressive. And I think that was important for this team because it was really something that we were lacking for the first couple of games, whether he was out for injury or whether he just wasn't giving 100%. So I think it was really important to see Jimmy be Jimmy. And another thing is I think we got a really good flow with Kelly in the starting lineup. So it was nice to see that. I think we're averaging like 1.2 something points per possession with that starting lineup, which is pretty crazy as far as numbers go. And I think we had a step in a good direction. Now, are we complete? No. We're still a horrible rebounding team. We gave up a game losing rebound. We still need to work on that. Turnovers are a little bit better, but it needs to be consistently better. So it needs to be something that happens every game, day in, day out. If we can keep it under, 14, that's 10, probably the 10 less points we're going to give up to the other team. So I think there's still a few holes on this team. We still don't know exactly if Kelly's going to be consistent. We've seen him have problems with that before, but I think there's a lot of things that we could take away from that game that was positive.
Brady, Kelly Olynyk in the starting lineup. Is that something that's going to be continuing to be a trend, or it's just a temporary thing?
Well, for now, with the current team that they have, Kelly Olynyk's going to be the fifth starter. They want to try to keep those four guys off the bench intact. With Goran, Avery, Iguodala, and Precious, when they come in together, they play very well together. It's interesting because it's a guy they got in free agency and a rookie. So it's not even like they have continuity from last year. Just automatically, they just play really well together. And then just some things that they, talking about from the last game to now, all of their issues are things in this game that they can, shine with. You mentioned turnovers, and the other one is just getting good amount of shot attempts up. And Washington's probably one of the worst defensive teams in the league. So this is a game where all of them, Tyler Hero especially, can get back into an offensive rhythm. You mentioned, rebounding issues. Washington's just as bad of a rebounding team as Miami is, and they're not going to have their leading rebounder, Russell Westbrook, tonight. So I expect Miami to, win that category against Washington, the rebounding. But of course, you can look at, each side, Westbrook being out, that just means more shot attempts for Bradley Beal. So you're not going to stop Bradley Beal. Miami knows you're not going to stop Bradley Beal. You just got to try to contain him as much as possible and try to make him make that pass and make somebody else try to score the ball. So Bradley Beal's going to do what he can do, but if Miami can just clean up some of the things that have been their biggest issues, this is the game that it can happen. And then you're going into a back-to-back, tomorrow against Boston, where they might not even have 8 players to play the game. So if you can get a game like this, you're not worried about, you're not worried about guys like Iguodala, Goran, or Jimmy playing too much off of back-to-back, because tomorrow you should be all right. Without Tatum, Kemba's not going to be coming back. Jaylen Brown's questionable. So you could pretty much, try to fly through that game. So you just got to worry about tonight. And like I said, just cleaning up some of the things we've discussed.
Well, before you move forward, actually, what I want to say is I think it'd be better off if Bradley Beal scored 70 and they lost, because that would piss him off more and incline him more to probably want to get to the Heat. And, his girlfriend's been talking on Twitter. The writing's been all over the wall. He's clearly upset. So if we can have him go off for 70, have everybody else shut down, we're in a better position, because long term, he might want to come to Miami. But Ali, you can go ahead and what you want to say.
No, I was going to talk about Bradley Beal and the 2 games that he's had. Awesome games, 60 points, whatever, 100 or something in the last 2 games. They lost both of those games. And Brady was talking about we're not going to stop him, but what can the Miami Heat try to do in order to try to stop him? Because that's the only guy they have to worry about tonight.
I think it's going to have to be a team effort. I think we're going to see a lot of Avery Bradley on him, especially if he starts going off. We could also see some Jimmy Butler on him, and maybe even some Andre Iguodala. You know what I mean? There's a couple of tools that we can throw on him that'll really work out. But I think between Jimmy and Avery, we're gonna have the bulk of the minutes trying to shut down Bradley Beal. But like Brady said, you can't shut him down. You can only try to hope to contain him as much as you can. But I think this is one of those games as well. Since we're having a back-to-back tomorrow, if we can blow him out early, and have nobody else, establish rhythm other than Bradley Beal, we can play some of the reserves like Nunn or Silva,
KZ.
whoever we want to play, KZ. You know what I mean? See some KZ moments at the end of the game. But this could be one of those games where we can save our veterans. We play Goran maybe less than 18 minutes, Iguodala maybe less than 15 minutes, just so we can save their legs for tomorrow, and then we have those guys kick off. But as far as it goes with Bradley Beal, you can only do so much with him. Hopefully, between Avery and Jimmy Butler, you can do something to make this game winnable.
What do you think, Brady?
Yeah, I think like you just said, everything you said about Bradley Beal trying to stop him. Avery Bradley's going to be a big name to throw on him, but I do think Jimmy Butler starts on him because they start Denny Avdia at the three, so you can live with throwing Duncan on him probably, and then they'll throw Tyler on Raul Neto. They're starting in place for Westbrook, so I think you start the game with Butler on Beal, and they play with a Rui and Thomas Bryant, so they have two athletic bigs. So you're going to see Bam on Rui. So the matchups are fine defensively. I think they're going to be fine with everybody else. I just think the big thing is we don't think this offensive shooting is going to go on for long. But this is a game where they can turn around. Tyler here is shooting only 30% from three. Goran surprisingly only shooting 25% from three. Those are things that can turn around. And this is the type of game I think where Bam can look to attack more. I think we say that every game, but more shot attempts for Bam is what this team wants and needs. So if he looks to attack early, that just creates everything else for everybody else. So that's just good all around.
So we just had the breaking news here. The Fantasy Labs NBA account is saying Bradley Beal, because of the health protocols, is not going to be playing tonight either. So it's not going to be either Russell Westbrook or Bradley Beal tonight.
I think they're doing that because of Heat propaganda, and they don't want him to lose against the Heat, drop 70, and then demand a trade.
So somebody else less to worry for the Miami Heat. You were talking about Jimmy Butler, Brady. In the last game, we saw the best version of Jimmy Butler so far this season. And this is a type of game for Jimmy to go and score 30, 40 points tonight, right?
I don't know. I think I'd go the other way with it. I think everybody else is going to step up. This is a game. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get, if they can play, but these types of games when they're supposed to win, when there's just a bunch of guys like this is the games where they struggle. But hopefully if they do what they do, I'd expect Butler to get some rest today. And then hopefully even tomorrow, if the guys that aren't supposed to be playing tomorrow getting, for Boston, get some rest tomorrow as well. Because then you're heading in, who knows what's happening with Philly, but then you're going to play Philly back to back. So there's some interesting things up ahead with this whole COVID process. The big thing is just Miami staying healthy. But if you can, try to coast through these games, unfortunately that's what's happening to these other teams. But if Miami coasts through these games right now, that just means, added time for their veterans to get some rest, and then, added opportunities for these young guys, as you mentioned, like KZ Okpala and Kendrick Nunn. If they can coast, it's just, makes it even better to have, not having the G League and everything. This is the time. These are the type of moments where these guys can shine.
But shouldn't you play Jimmy Butler, especially since he missed a couple of games already with an injury, like to get him in rhythm? Jonathan, what do you think?
We have two games. We have a back-to-back tomorrow. You know what I mean? So we got to think like this is a marathon. We don't want to think like, oh, we got to get Jimmy ready now. Playoffs are around the corner. We got to get him going. So like what Brady's saying, I don't think this is the game we want to overuse Jimmy. We want to overuse Jimmy the games that are must-wins. You know what I mean? Marquee games like the game against Boston, stuff like that. But this is a game where they don't have any Bradley Beal, don't have any Russell Westbrook. Just go with the young guys, go with the ball movement, let Bam be the spearhead. He's the young guy. Let him grow to this game. Let Tyler Hero grow this game. Let Precious do some cleanup work and let him get some extra handles in. So I think that's something we could do. But we do have to fear this Washington team. Last time they didn't have Bradley Beal. I was just looking it up. Jordan McRae dropped 29. Jan Mahimi dropped 25. Garrison Matthews dropped 28. I mean, who are these guys? Like, honestly, but it happens. It happened only last year or 2019, so last season. So it's still something that we have to worry about. This is a team that still struggles against bottom of the floor teams, and we need to show that we're consistently be able to beat them up.
Right. So, Brady, you mentioned something very interesting. Last year, the Heat struggled with these type of games. When you expected them to win by 20 points, they ended up just in a dogfight at the other games. I remember last year with Atlanta, with Sacramento, with Phoenix sometimes. Do you expect something like that tonight, or shouldn't we shouldn't be worried? What do you think?
Well, I think you're going to know out the gate if you see energy from the guys, because it's just natural that when you see you're going up
Yeah.
against a team that's out without Westbrook, without Bradley Beal, the two best players, you just automatically become you just start to back off. But if they come out with the mentality that let's come out early, score the basketball, and then you could rest later, that would be pretty ideal. But if they keep this into a back and forth with some guys you never heard of starting to have 20 at the end of the third quarter, then this could be one of those games. But I expect Miami. This is kind of the bounce back game that I think they're just going to come out early. You're going to see probably Duncan getting the ball up. You're going to see a bunch of guys just getting the shot attempts up, because that's the big thing. If when you're just last in the league and shot attempts and that low, you got to just start getting the ball up, get every opportunity, first opportunity you get. So I don't think that'll be an issue tonight. But that's it still could happen.
Yeah, after the last game, Bam Adebayo was saying like how worried he was that they were creating this tendency of losing games, and it's still early, only 7 games into the season, but he was worried. He said we have to stop this right now so we don't dig ourselves a deeper hole, and then when we look at it, we're fighting for the 8th spot in the
Right.
Eastern Conference. Right now, they're out of the postseason picture. Of course, it's too early, but are you guys? Worried about this slow start for the Miami Heat?
No, I mean, this is something that we've kind of expected that was going to happen. We had the second shortest postseason in history behind the Lakers by one day. So I think this is something that we expected to happen. We had a couple of guys fall out. Jay Crowder, even though that
Mhm.
we talked about yesterday on The Floor Is Yours, that he wasn't a big loss, but he's still a loss that took this team to the finals. You know what I mean? He was a piece that took this team to the finals, and we need to fill that hole. And we had the whole Giannis plan go out the thing. So we have a couple of holes. We got a couple of new guys. We got a couple of things to get together. We knew this was going to happen. And on top of that, Jimmy's been in and out of the lineup. He's been hurt. And this is something that we kind of all expected. So I'm not too worried. I think this is something that will work itself out as the team continues to grow as a whole, like we wanted to moving forward. We have to remember this is still a relatively young team.
Yeah.
So as long as the team continues to make the right strides moving forward, this is something that we shouldn't really have to worry about unless we continue to see the turnovers and the rebounding is a problem.
Right. So for all of you that are asking us who reported the Bradley Beal being out of tonight's game, so here it is. This is the tweet by Shams Charania saying the Wizards start Bradley Beal is out for tonight's versus Miami due to health and safety protocols and contact tracing exposure to Jason Tatum. So I guess he was the only Wizard that was exposed to Tatum. I don't know how, but yes. So that's the reason, and so that's why he's out tonight. And I mean, it's been affecting all the teams around Miami, the Miami Heat, and you have to worry, man. It's coming very close. I mean, the Miami Heat's supposed to be playing the Sixers. Brady's talked about it, but I don't know if those games are actually going to be taking place. They were struggling to actually put 7 or 8 guys in the roster to somehow play a game of basketball in the beginning of a season that didn't have a preseason, or only a short preseason, 2 games, and they're already asking teams to play with 7 or 8 guys, which uh, shouldn't be done in my opinion. But that was the report from Shams Charania. So no Westbrook, no Bradley tonight. And of course, that's really helpful for the Miami Heat. And tomorrow, we're also not going to have the entire Celtics team together, right? Who else is out for the Celtics tomorrow, Brady? You were talking about it, I think, before the show.
Yeah, it's a long list. They basically have 8 players possibly available, but a bunch of them are questionable. Jaylen Brown's questionable. I think Tristan Thompson's out. Robert Williams and Grant Williams are both out. There's a long list, but they could have 8 guys still to play. So it's not you're not looking at a forfeit, at least right now. And then obviously the questionable guys still could possibly play. But once again, it's another just thing for Miami that they can kind of just get some W's in the win column, as Tyler Hero said the other day. That he was kind of talking about this road trip being something they could look back on as their momentum. But I think it might be their momentum, in a different way than they expected. I think they were expecting this to just they can get some good wins against these good teams on the
Yeah.
road. But now you're looking at getting at least some wins, some rhythm. It doesn't matter if you're playing Bradley Beal or if you're not playing Bradley Beal. Offensive rhythm is offensive rhythm. So if you can get that going, if you can just clean up some work on turnovers, cut downs, and everything like that. It's just an improved practice if you can, win like you're supposed to. But this is just the time where you can kind of do something like that. And I think this game has Kendrick Nunn written all over it. Eric Spoelstra talked about just getting him his opportunity, that he deserves an opportunity, and how great he's handled everything that he's gone through. And this is the type of game where he still wants to see some Kendrick Nunn. In a game like this, he wants to see situational what he does with the basketball. Everybody knows he can score. It's just can he do it efficiently, and things like that. So I think this is a game where you can talk about KZ, but I think it's more of a Kendrick Nunn. So just kind of get evaluation a little bit deeper.
So you were talking about offensive rhythm, and that has also to be with Tyler Hero, right? Because he's been struggling a little bit in this new role as a starter, as a point guard. So this is a good opportunity for Tyler Hero to actually keep going and keep practicing and keep working on those things. What do you think, Jonathan?
Yeah, I think this is definitely one of those games where you can see him break out and have probably maybe his best game of the season, because he'll be guarded by a couple of, backup players, and he's not playing against a Bradley Beal or Russell Westbrook, who are just more physically imposing than him and make things hard for him. So this is one of those games where you can see him work the pick and roll, see him work just a lot of off-ball movement when he has the chance, a lot of on-ball movement, and he'll just get a lot of reps. And I think that's something that's important, especially for his growth. If we want to see him develop as a starting point guard, even though we play positionless, this is something that he's going to have to be asked to do. And this game, and also tomorrow's game, because like Brady said, where we had this roulette of hard teams lined up, but now it kind of all turned into a bunch of G League squads. So now we just have a lot of practice games going, but it's good because it's NBA teams and it's still NBA practice. So I think this road trip, like what Brady said, is going to be really good for us and really could help us pick up our offensive rhythm and could be the propulsion for Tyler Hero moving forward this season.
So I'm getting a lot of names here in the comments for people that should rest tonight. So who would you rest the most tonight thinking about the Celtics tomorrow? Brady, let's start with you.
Well, I think there's going to be guys like Goran and Iguodala and Jimmy. Those are probably the three that I don't know. I don't think they're going to rest from the jump because I think Butler's, he's still going to play. But, get a good amount of minutes on the bench at least. But those are probably the three I'd expect the most. Goran specifically, after the load he takes. Coming into the season, we were thinking like he wouldn't be ready for the start. And if he was, he would slowly get brought in. Then all of a sudden, we're like in the third game talking about that he's going to be the offensive load that night without Jimmy. So getting him rest is probably key, and Jimmy as well, because take care of that ankle if it's still a bit of a bother, and even if for getting the ankle, him being his age, he needs to rest through this low season, because who knows when if it'll get postponed at any point with the stuff we're seeing. Because we could talk about basketball at this point all we want. But like you mentioned, it's getting closer and closer to the Heat. And it's just honestly insane that this is happening around the league. And, we're just like moving on. Everything is just like moving on. I think it said something about Beal and what happened when Beal was after the game, just talking to Tatum on the court. So, you don't think Beal's been around a lot of these guys on Washington, and then Washington's going to go play against Miami tonight. It's going to be an ongoing thing. So it's just like, at this point, we can discuss basketball, but who knows what's going to happen in the next 24 hours or even 1 hour. We just don't know.
Yeah, we have to remember last year, the NBA was the first one to suspend the season. And this year, they've done it differently. I guess they're doing it similar to what MLB or the NFL or the other leagues were doing. We're just suspending some games here and there, but not the entire league, which is something very dangerous, especially with what Brady just said. Bradley Beal was not only in the locker room, in the plane, in the bus, whatever, all these places sharing with his teammates, and now those teammates are going to be facing the Miami Heat, and the Miami Heat's going to play another team, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be very dangerous, and hopefully it doesn't spread around the league as fast as it could be happening. So you talked about Jimmy Butler, Brady, Jimmy Butler, Goran, and also Iguodala getting some rest tonight. So who would take those minutes, Jonathan? If those three are resting, are playing only 15 to 20 minutes,
You
or
got
even less.
you put Kendrick Nunn in there. You'll probably see spotty Mo Harkless minutes if coach wants to be greedy and not give us KZ. You know what I mean? You'll probably see a lot of more Precious, especially garbage time. Little bit of Chris Silva. But yeah, between those guys and probably more Duncan Robinson just to get him in the flow, get him more shots up. I think he's shooting like Brady will probably know the number, like above 50% when he's getting assisted by Jimmy or Bam. And so he's shooting really good. So it'd be interesting to see him get his rhythm as well. So I think between those guys, bottom of the bench, especially between Nunn, Precious, hopefully KZ, those would be the three guys that I would want to see take those minutes today.
So you didn't mention Meyers Leonard. What's going on with Leonard? Is he playing any of these two games, Brady?
I mean, I don't know. At this point, you may need bodies as much as possible with the teams
Yeah.
you're seeing going, having 8 guys available. And that's why coming into the season, that's why depth was harped upon. You can talk about, trades and everything, but the reason you're harping on depth is because, you feel a lot more comfortable throwing in Kendrick Nunn or a lot of these guys we're discussing than these other teams are. That's why you're rolling with this 9-man rotation. But, you have a guy like KZ Okpala, even though he's young, you're pretty comfortable, at least for him to thrive on the defensive end or things of that nature. So, that's just the way it is. Myers Leonard's another one that's a body that can, be situational and can be used. I don't see him breaking into the rotation without COVID happening. But like I mentioned, it's hard to imagine COVID not impacting the C team with what they're going to be facing tonight and over the next couple of games. So we'll see. We'll see if what games are played and who ends up playing.
So it's really hard to predict what Eric Spoelstra is going to do. We saw his starting lineup this season and how much is changed in these 7 games, and we never know. So we have the starting lineup, and we want to go through it real fast. We have Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, Kelly Olynyk, and Bam Adebayo. So that's the starting lineup for tonight. Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson. Look at that editing on the Kelly Olynyk's face, and Bam Adebayo. I hate these designs that the Heat are doing this year. I don't like them. So the expected starting lineup, right? The 5 guys that we were expecting to start, nothing new there. So anything to comment on that starting lineup or no?
I think it's pretty much was expected.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I agree with you. So these guys here are saying to trade Leonard, to trade Nunn. But, I mean, Brady was just talking about depth. If you trade those 2 guys, then you lose a little bit of that depth that you were talking about.
You lose a guy that started almost 50 games last year and was second in place rookie of the year. And you can say all you want about how much he's fallen off. But that player is still somewhere in there unless he's like Tyreek Evans and his first year is his best year, and then he just falls off a cliff from there. You know what I mean? But hopefully none. And he'll have at least a little bit of trust from Spo. Same thing with Leonard. These guys have a little bit of trust from Spo that they can come in. God forbid COVID happens on this team, and they can come in and fill a hole.
So Brady, talking about Nunn, even if he doesn't come back to that same level that we saw being a starter, he could be a guy that can help you a lot from the bench, right?
Yeah, I think he can help you if, things happen with the rotation. But with the 9 guys that they have, Spoelstra's comfortable with these 9. I don't see him changing anything unless they add somebody through trade or anything like that. But right now, I don't see Nunn, inserting in for any of the guys in the first 9 because, looking at the guards, whoever you want to count as a guard, either Duncan or Jimmy, but you also have Tyler, you have Goran, you have Avery Bradley, and any of those guys are not getting replaced by Kendrick Nunn. But like I said, there's going to be moments for him that he's going to have an opportunity and he's going to be needed. And I think that's a pretty decent guy that you can rely on when you're going that deep to your bench.
So with no Bradley Beal, with no Russell Westbrook, what's your expectation? What's the score going to be like tonight, Jonathan?
They're still a pretty good offensive team, but they don't have a Beal, so I'll probably take it away. So I'm gonna say 122-106 Miami.
Okay, 16-point difference. What about you, Brady?
I don't know the exact score, but I think Miami should win by like over 20. I think they get this blow this out pretty early just to kind of, like I said, get some guys rested, and we see some guys like the young guys get thrown in pretty early, maybe in the second quarter. So I'll say I think they win by over 20.
Okay, yes. I think we all agree that 15 plus, right, should be the advantage for the Miami Heat tonight. But as we saw last year, they kind of struggle with these type of teams. They don't come up with the same energy, and that has been something that really affects this team throughout the season. So thank you guys for joining me for this pregame show, Jonathan, Brady, and we'll be back tomorrow for the pregame for the game against the Boston Celtics. Tonight, though, right after the game, we are going to be doing the post-game show that's going to be hosted probably by Royal and going to be managed and produced by our friend Manny Chang that was doing the Kane show a couple of minutes ago. So thank you guys for joining us. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to leave your comments here. But we're going to go ahead and read some of the comments that came up. But Jonathan, Brady, you're welcome to leave if you want to. You're welcome to stay if you want to. Thank you very much for being here in the pregame show.
All right, I'll
Take
see
it
you
easy.
guys.
All right, thank you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and read some of your guys' comments. This segment, the live comments, it's brought to you by Biscayne Bay, and we're gonna go ahead and give them a shout out. So we are back now with the Biscayne Bay live comments here with you guys. So thank you for all of you that are staying here and sending your comments. Let's read some of the comments that are coming up right now. COVID really, really hurting the team right now. Stay safe. Yes, for all of you that are not only here in South Florida, all over the country, please be safe. Stay safe and don't be stupid. Don't go out too much out there. Try to stay home. Try to be with your family. Stay home and be safe out there because it's getting really, really, really bad right now. So trade mode worthless. Well, I don't know if they're gonna trade him right now. So Patrick, thank you for your comment, but it's kind of hard right now to do that. What does a Heat trade package for Bradley Beal look like? Well, we'll have that question for you guys for our analyst here in the next segment. But thank you, Christian. We can. I mean, we've talked about it. It's here in the YouTube channel. You guys can go and look for it. And we have so many episodes about Bradley Beal and whatever the Washington Wizards could be asking for in that trade. So just go ahead and check the videos that we have here or in the podcast version if you want to. Why not experiment with Struss, KZ, and Vincent, especially since the two big starters are out? Well, first you have to actually control the game before you start doing all that, because if not, it can get complicated really early, and that's not what you want. So thank you for your question, Alex Dickerson. None is better off the ball. He has been just going for his when he's seen the floor. Yes, well, I don't know. Last year, I mean, it was a surprise. I guess teams were not expecting him, especially the first half of the season. The second half, they kind of made an adjustment, but he also went through some different things, and I don't know if that really is still affecting him or not. It did in the bubble, even though he had a couple of great games in the NBA Finals. I don't know if right now that's affecting him or not, but he's out of the rotation number one for Eric Spoelstra so far. So Alex Dixon says 118.89, so almost what 30 points right there. Michael is saying 115.94. Thank you, Michael, for your comment, bro. If we lose again, yes, we shouldn't lose tonight. The Miami Heat should win this game tonight. Stress, yes, Struss is the right name. Struss, there you go. Not gonna get to see Beal give the ice to Bam. No, not tonight. Maybe sometime later in the season, but not tonight. Thank you, Christian. Michael says we better win. Yes, we better win. I agree with you. They are gifting us this game. Young, well, try not to kill anybody. Yes, they're giving us this game. Well, we don't know. Like we said, the Miami Heat always struggles with this type of team. So be out there and be aware of what's going on there, because I don't know, it's been hard for the Miami Heat team in the last couple of seasons, and this year so far they haven't had um, a couple of great games in a row. So hopefully they can start doing that more and more often, especially if they want to be in the top four in the Eastern Conference. He needs to win by 50 to fix those net ratings numbers. Yes, they need to win by a lot so they get that confidence back, right? Now they put OKC away, they'll do the same to the underman West. Well, hopefully that's the case. Like, is Jimmy playing? Yes, we're gonna review the starting lineup for some of you that came up a little bit later. So this is starting lineup for tonight: Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, Kelly Olynyk, and that horrible design there, the editing for the Miami Heat, and Bam Adebayo. So Hero, Butler, Robinson, Olynyk, and Adebayo. That's the starting five for the Miami Heat tonight. Let me see. Can we get rid of Worthless and Leonard? I don't think so. Heat Nation. Bill is not out. Yes, Bill is out. Shamsar Charania from The Athletic was reporting it early. COVID protocol, like our friend Trav says. He was talking to Tatum without a mask on after the game. So just because of the tracing that they did makes Beal being out, even though, I mean, in my opinion, this game should have been suspended, especially after the Wizards played the Celtics and Tatum was there. So Tatum's positive. Uh, okay, let me show you here real quick the report by Shams so you guys can, well, I don't know. I don't have it right now, but he's out. He's not going to be playing tonight. So help me, please. Goran is being overused so early in the season. Yes, we've needed him a lot in the first couple of games. So, and that's if that continues to be a trend, might as well just use him as a starter, right? So just to get things going, and then maybe get him in some sort of rotation. And Eric Spoelstra is really good at doing that. And by the way, right now, let me open this my Biscayne Bay beer. Thank you for joining me, guys. So, uh, yes, might as well just use him as a starter and then rotate him like Eric Spoelstra does with some of the starters. I mean, we've seen it with Duncan Robinson how he doesn't finish games, or even Myers Leonard last year when he started, but he didn't play the most minutes in that position. So any game against the Wizards is a gift. I don't know, that last year didn't happen like that, so we have to be careful. Federico Pasi Googly Bro, yes, believe us, neither of those are playing tonight. Where Russell Westbrook or um, our friend Bradley Beal. So why isn't Bam getting boards? A perfect opportunity to rest Jimmy and Dragic and get KZ and Bradley Beal more into the mix. So okay, yes, thank you. That could be an option. I don't know if KZ is gonna get all those minutes that you guys want, but yes, he can be an option there. Bam week on the boards this year. Well, it's still early. It's just 7 games, so wait a little bit. Don't be so impatient, man. We need to try to get Beal. Yes, yes, we do, but I don't know if that's gonna happen anytime soon before March. Remember, March is it's gonna be the last month to do that. This would be a good time to sub the rookies. Casey, Struss not a rookie, and Precious. I mean, I like what Precious has been doing, so he's been in their rotation there, and he might be getting a lot of minutes in these 2 games against the Washington Wizards and the Boston Celtics. Um, Let me go check on unidentified celebrity or friend. Let me see. I was reading here. Do you guys know if the Heat can start talks about Bill, because it sounds like he wants out? Well, I bet they've been talking. I don't know for sure, but I bet they've been talking, because that's what they do. Uh, when they get into this point, they've been talking to these guys, to not only Bradley Beal but also Oladipo and all these options that have come up. Even Kyle Lowry the guys talked about the possibility of trading for Kyle Lowry when we face the Toronto Raptors. So why not? Is Jimmy being overused, especially with all those ankle tweaks? Well, last game was kind of hard to analyze, because it's those type of games when even players don't want to come out. I mean, it was the rivalry, it was the rematch. the guys that they just beat in the Eastern Conference Finals. We know that's going to be a rivalry going on in the next couple of years. So I don't know. Maybe in that game, even Jimmy won. I mean, he wanted to be there. So today, probably expect a little bit less of Jimmy in this game. Michael Sands says Bam isn't getting boards because Tyler is rebounding like a madman and Precious is rebounding well. Yes, um, Tyler is actually getting a lot of rebounds. That's true. But Precious and Bam have not been at the same time on the court. So I mean, sometimes rebounds, yes, are about. I mean, they are about positioning yourself, about knowing when the shot's coming from or where the shot's coming from and where it could be going. But sometimes it's a little bit of luck too and a little bit of timing. And of course, remember, this is a season that started with just two pregame seasons. So this could be this might as well be the last games of the preseason in a normal season. So be patient a little bit with those type of things. Tanner Chapman says, I've been repping Heat since they drafted Wade. Thank you. And remember to subscribe to our channel. That's very important for us. What's going on with our defense? We need an answer from the four. Well, the Miami Heat looks like they're still figuring out how do all these things. We have to remember new faces as well, not only Precious, Avery Bradley, Mo Carles, who started a couple of games in the beginning of the season. So be patient a little bit with that. Happy Jimmy has been attempting threes. He used to take them. Yes, well, in this team, he's probably not. He's not the best in threes. He's not the first option when you think about uh, guys looking for threes. So you have Duncan Robinson, you have Tyler Hero, you have Goran Dragic, you even have sometimes Kelly Olynyk. Those guys are good from the 3 point line, and I mean Jimmy's of course in that mix, but that's not his specialty. He's way better going into the rim and attacking the rim and getting points or going to the line and getting points that way. So, but yes, I mean he could work on it. He's very good. He has a couple of spots in the court when he likes long twos. So why not try maybe a couple of more shots from the 3 point line, two to four more shots from the 3 point line for each game. That could be a. I mean, you can try right now in the regular season trying to work on that. And I mean, he's not a rookie or anything. So, and it's not like he's going to learn the game right now, but that's something that probably he can take more advantage of. The same with Bam Adebayo. I mean, he gets a lot of open looks in the mid range, and he's been taking more and more of those shots, and hopefully he can be better and better as he progresses in his career. So Pablo Huncho says, "What do you think we can do to get Duncan more shots?" Well, the thing is, this year, and thank you, Pablo, for your message, the thing for your comment. The thing is, this year uh, the entire league knows about Duncan Robinson. Even the entire country knows now because of the Heat going to the NBA Finals. So that's not a surprise anymore. And of course, defenses are getting ready for that play, getting ready for Duncan Robinson. They know he's just running around like crazy looking for a spot. So and they're preparing for that. And that's the next step that Duncan Robinson needs to make, right? Or to take. You know what? They're guarding you very well anyway. What else can you do? What else can you add to your game? So whenever they shut down your three, you can do something else, and that way you can hurt them as well, and that's going to change the way they defend you. So I mean, it's just a matter of also rotating the ball in a better way and trying to find the guy that's open. But he's been getting good looks. Last game against Boston, he almost saved the game in the last minute. So hopefully he can be that guy again this season. He has a lot of open looks though. Yes, Heat for life. Thank you for your message. They are defending Duncan extremely well. Alex, thank you, Alex. Christopher Jenkins. Duncan suffering from hero at point. Well, that could be also not only. I mean, I wouldn't just say Duncan. The Heat as a team, and I wouldn't say suffering, but they're still in growing pain, right? In those moments when you're okay, he's just still learning the position, or He's still learning the system and all those different things. So be patient with Tyler Hero, and hopefully he will deliver. So thank you guys for joining us. This was the Biscayne Bay live comments with you guys. Thank you very much. We're going to be doing this before and during games this year, during Miami Heat games, hopefully with more and more of the guys. David, who always joins me here in the Biscayne Bay live commenting with you guys, couldn't join us tonight, but he will during the season. Remember, tonight, right after the game, we're going to be doing the post game show here in the Five Reasons YouTube channel. Remember to tune in, to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get a notification. Turn the notifications on so you get a little pop-up notification on your phone every time we go live, and that way you don't miss any of the Five Reasons Sports Network shows. So thank you very much for joining us. Remembering the starting lineup for tonight as we read the last message from our friend Alex. That's great. The guys that do the Dolphins do this during the game. Yes, I'm going to start doing it during the game as well. And not tonight, but we will do it during the game, during the season, because that's something that we want to grow more and more. We did it throughout the playoffs last year, throughout the entire run, and even onto the finals, and we stayed for the post-game conferences and everything. So we're going to be doing more and more, creating more and more content, and hopefully with the help of all of you guys, we can continue growing here as a YouTube channel for the Miami Heat, but also as an NBA YouTube channel, a sports channel, creating a lot of content for you guys. So thank you very much for tonight. The starting lineup for the Miami Heat, once again, before we leave, it's going to be this one right here. We have Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, our friend Kelly Olynyk looking somewhere, and Bam Adebayo. So Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, Kelly Olynyk, Bam Adebayo. That's the starting five for the Miami Heat tonight. I'm Alejandro Villegas. Thank you very much for joining us and the Five Reasons Sports Network pregame show for the Miami Heat. And we'll be back for the postgame show right after the game. And like Venus Torres says, I hope they win. I hope the Miami Heat wins as well. Thank you very much. And thank you for joining the Five Reasons pregame show. See you tomorrow. I'm going to be here in the pregame show as well. So see you tomorrow before the Miami Heat Boston Celtics game.